technological development for advancement of the society. The university is located in the vast resource-rich county of Turkana. We offer unique competency-based training in schools of sciences, business and economics, education and TVET training. Apply now for our January, May and September intakes for postgraduate degree and diploma certificate in the following programs: environmental sciences, business administration, environmental health, human evolution biology, renewable energy and technology, education, development studies and social work, information technology, public administration and management, agriculture, early childhood development, ECDE, water technology, marine sciences, petroleum studies, among other courses. Turkana University, the cradle of knowledge.
Welcome to Kibabii University, a center of academic excellence whose mission is to enhance new knowledge in science, technology and innovation through quality training, research, consultancy and outreach programs. Apply now for our September intakes for postgraduate, degree and diploma programs in the following schools and faculties: School of Computing and Informatics, School of Business and Economics, School of Graduate Studies, Faculty of Sciences and Faculty of Education and Social Sciences. For more inquiries, call us on 0708 08 5934 or 0734 831 729 or visit our website www.kibu.ac.ke. Kibabii University, knowledge for development.
Now you can get your Uber ride with a phone call. Call 0800 722 000 to ride.
The University of Nairobi is receiving applications for the September 2019 intake. Interested applicants should apply online at application.uonbi.ac.ke. Choose a course from its diverse market-driven and internationally recognized programs in undergraduate, postgraduate and fellowship programs in arts, business, economics, journalism and mass communication, law, education, project planning and management, computer science, medicine, among many others. For more detail, visit our website www.uonbi.ac.ke. The University of Nairobi, a world-class university committed to scholarly excellence.
Tumekuwa tukizunguka mtaani tukireward loyal customers wa Selector na 1 year supply.
Tumekuwa Keno, Mweke, Remuru, Roiro, Gekoyo, Gong, Ede Umoja.
Karada, tukikupata ukibai Selector pale kwa shop ya mtaani yenyu, you might be the luckiest winner ya 1 year supply.
Mkate ni Selector. Tosha.
The three sides of Anna.
My life has changed in an instant. An instant, and for everyone, I stopped existing. But I'm thankful for that. I'm going to have it all.
The three sides of Anna, identical and different.
The Nyeri National Polytechnic is a public national TVET institution offering competency-based education and training courses. We have state-of-the-art equipment in electrical, mechanical, and civil engineering and hospitality. September 2019 intake is ongoing for the following CBET courses: simple automation, lathe machine operator, manual metal arc welding, among others. Apply now and enjoy reduced tuition fee. The Nyeri National Polytechnic. Excel in skills and technology.
This is NTV.
The government has sounded the battle cry. It's coming for those who've made homes in the Mau forest glades. Now, this notice has set off a brush fire that has consumed two sides with differing views about the forests and its resources. But when the smoke dissipates and the flames die down to embers, another perilous threat looms for the country's green lung. Now, the towering trees of the Mau play important parts in the orchestra of the region's water system. The rivers that flow from it quench the thirst of communities beyond the country's borders. Now, if enough of the forest is lost, then this orchestra could fall out of tune. Tonight, the battle for the soul of the Mau as government policy comes up against political resistance. NTV Weekend Edition starts now with the highlights. Tonight,
We are not going anywhere, and you must listen right. Atutoki Mau.
Give me a break. Give me a break. When will ever be the right time?
A battle of nerves in the battle for Mau. And some move out as government moves in. Also tonight, the deputy president and his lieutenants take up their battle stations.
Tukibadilisha katiba, kabila tano za Kenya zipate vyeo, na zile kabila 37 zitaenda wapi katika Kenya hii?
BBI ambayo ni beba baba, tuite bebarandum. Hata wakileta bebarandum, alafu walete memorandum, waongezee contingendum.
They're building consensus against the Building Bridges initiative. Plus, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is looking for this enumerator. And we found him.
It apparently went viral and I was not ready for that.
And also tonight, the small school in Nandi taking big strides to ensure inclusivity.
NTV Weekend Edition with Mark Masai.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Dagondo is a sign language interpreter, and we'll be having all that you've just seen and more coming up. But first, for the last 4 months, NTV has been investigating the Child Welfare Society of Kenya, CWSK, a state corporation responsible for taking care of the country's vulnerable children. This was after we received damning evidence on child rights abuses and embezzlement of public funds in running of a scheme where special needs children are used for profit. Now, we corroborated each piece of evidence that we received and spoke to everyone responsible, including the CEO of the state corporation, Irene Mureithi. She left no doubt that she was prepared to do anything to ensure the expose does not air by making unethical overtures and claiming to know people in high places. Now, CWSK went to court and, using falsehoods, got orders on Friday that stopped us from airing the expose's Sins of Saviors as was planned tonight. We now understand from our sources that she's prepared a documentary with alternative facts from coach witnesses to steer conversation away from the facts of child rights abuses. We're also reliably informed that she plans to invite a parliamentary committee to the Mamangina Children's Home this new week in another public relations stunt. While we abide by the law, we would like to assure you that we at Nation Media Group are doing everything we can to vacate that order. Sins of saviors will err for the sake of the children. To another top story tonight, and it's a war of nerves between the government and a section of Rift Valley leaders in the battle for the Mau forest. The political class is once again whipping up emotion ahead of the planned eviction amid warnings to temper their rhetoric to avoid setting off an already highly charged situation. Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko, who finds himself in the eye of the storm, has accused politicians with personal interest in the forest of actively working to derail the process as members of Parliament's Environment Committee summon him over the planned evictions. Olive Burrows begins our coverage.
If the Mau forest eviction issue came in a package, it would read handle with care. A politically charged subject matter that has long seen the Rift Valley leadership hiss and bare their claws. And the second phase of the Mau forest evictions is proving no exception.
Mau. Sisi wageni Kenya na tutaka Mau. Try and evict us and you will see the reaction.
Reality set in as the government moved in Sunday to ensure 15 schools that took root in the protected area illegally doors to learn.
Mau leo hatukuondoka jana na hatutawahi toka sehemu ya Mau. And I tell people who are living in Mau that on Monday let their kids go to school like any other child.
But there are those who choose not to wait around for the 60-day eviction notice issued last week to lapse before packing up and making their exit. 60 families from the Masai community vacated the Nkaroni Group Ranch as over 200 Kenya Forest Service officers moved into the forest, all of which understandably has caused some unease and led to demands that President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto break their loud silence on the Mau.
If 5,000 children will wake up tomorrow Monday morning, the 2nd of September 2019, and are not assured of having a school where they closed in second term, I think nothing could be more important in this country than that.
But Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko maintains that the government will not falter in its resolve, though there may be a heavy political price to pay.
Senior officials of this government have been making telephone calls and threatening and intimidating Natembeya, asking him to go slow on this, making all sorts of threats and insinuations.
Tobiko points an accusing finger at those whipping up emotions over the Mau evictions.
And these are not ordinary human beings. They are not the fellas you hear, oh, you know, they have nowhere to go. These are miserable. No. These are the who is who. Fellas who already have properties elsewhere in this country and maybe, very likely, outside this country.
As the rhetoric around the Mau forest evictions heightens in pitch, caution is advised as one wrong word could set off an irreversible chain reaction.
We will not be engaging in name-calling, shouting matches, and other activities that are likely to raise tensions amongst the people.
Olive Burrows, NTV.
I'll be talking to two senators who have very strong opinions on this particular matter of Mau evictions. That is the Senator of Kericho, that is Aaron Cheruiyot. He's already in studio. We're waiting on Ledamo Lekina, the Narok senator, to also join us on this conversation, which will start as soon as they are here. And switching focus to another battleground, and Deputy President William Ruto says the government will not be distracted by the constant calls for a referendum, even as he dismissed the Building Bridges initiative as a selfish move meant to serve only the interest of a few. Zainab Ismail reports.
Tukibadilisha katiba, kabila tano za Kenya zipate vyeo. Na vile
Deputy President William Ruto has once again poked holes on the proposed constitutional change, saying the ongoing clamor for a referendum poses a threat to the unity of the country.
And I want to tell our friends who are making ridiculous proposals, are we solving inclusion, or are we entrenching and constitutionalizing marginalization and exclusion?
The DP was speaking in Kirinyaga and Nyeri counties on Sunday during various church services, where he was accompanied by a number of leaders who promised a massive campaign to oppose any constitutional amendment process.
Kuna kitu tunasikia kule Murang'a inaitwa Bluebird Initiative. Na hiyo kitu ikitegenezwa tuliambiwa ni ya kuweka Wakenya pamoja. Lakini sasa tunaona inaenda ikibadilika. Juzi nikasikia wakisema kazi ya BBI ni kutengeneza viti 5 wapatie wale wadosi walianguka kura.
Let us not be distracted by agendas of those who seek to change the constitution after every election to see if they will get a shortcut to power.
Wakileta hiyo BBI ambayo ni beba baba tuite bebarandum. Hata wakileta bebarandum alafu walete memorandum, waongezee contingendum, alafu wakimaliza waweke addendum, baadaye wandunge momentum. Sisi wa Meru hatutasahau na wewe sababu ya ile kazi mzuri umetufanyia.
Meanwhile, Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa has called for a sober, non-partisan discussion on the need to amend the constitution by way of a referendum.
Nimesikia wengine wanaanza kusema wanataka kuanza kupinga BBI. Wewe, how do you start opposing what has not been proposed? Unapingaje ile haijapendekezwa? So nataka tuwe na subira, mambo yote yawe mezani.
Wamalwa appealed to the citizenry to interrogate the proposals on the table before taking a stand based purely on political considerations and advised against dismissing either the Punguza Mzigo or the Building Bridges initiative out of hand. Zainabi Smile, NTV.
The writing was on the wall for abrasive trade unionist Wilson Sossion. Plans to remove him from the helm of the Kenya National Union of Teachers had been carefully crafted. But Sossion, who was ousted by the union's top organ, is still holding on, hoping for reprieve in court. In the meantime, he has embarked on a diplomacy mission, enlisting the support of the umbrella trade union KOTU as his position in the teachers' union becomes untenable. NTV's Brenda Wanga reports.
But as of now, is elected substantive Secretary General of Kenya National Union of Teachers.
The school, he has embarked on what is now being seen as a campaign to overturn his removal from the union. Sossion is said to have held a mid-morning meeting with KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli to seek his support as he strives to survive what he has termed as high-placed motive to cripple the union and dispose of him.
Wanajua, they're the ones releasing money, they're the ones mobilizing. You tell KNUT leadership, throw out Sossion, and tomorrow you get all the money. What is that? Blackmail. I cannot be exchanged for money.
The meeting with Atwoli comes days after sections of the KNUT leadership sought the intervention of opposition leader Raila Odinga to save Sossion. That meeting held in Upper Hill, however, did not yield the desired results. Sossion believes that the move to banish him from the union was orchestrated high up in government, especially by those who are not pleased by his opposition to the introduction of the competency-based curriculum in April.
Oh, you can heal the broken heart.
But the last straw came with the intrigues that fought case on the implementation of the 2016 CBA that saw a number of NAT members locked out of plum benefits. Despite his ouster, the Secretary General now says only the annual delegates meeting set for December can remove him from office. But given the turn of events and with the new office ostensibly in place, the corridors of justice appear to be the only route to staying afloat in the stormy waters of the KNUT and the TSC wars. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
And meanwhile, the judiciary has been drawing the line and wants its budget allocation anchored in law to safeguard its independence and reduce the regular brushes with the legislature and executive that often resulted in threats of budget cuts. In a memorandum to the Building Bridges Initiative team, the judiciary through the Judicial Service Commission, also wants the number of Supreme Court judges increased from the current 7 to 11. NTV's Kennedy Mureithi has the highlights of the 86-page memo.
The third arm of government, that is the judiciary, wants the constitution changed to give them more autonomy as the impartial moderating power. In a memorandum submitted to the Building Bridges Initiative, the judiciary through the body that oversees its operations, that is the Judicial Service Commission, put down a number of issues it believes have hampered its operation independence. The judiciary has segmented challenges it has encountered since the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010 and notes that time is ripe to review the country's guiding law. Top on their agenda, the judiciary budget. The GSC a share of resources from the country's shareable revenue, anchored in law to shield it from the whims of politicians. According to the memorandum, the judiciary wants 3.5% of the national budget set aside for them, just like it is for counties, where the constitution sets aside 15% of the national budget for counties. In justifying the needs, judges argue they have been victims of political machinations, as their judgments have been scrutinized, thus compromising their independence. In the case of the 2017 elections, President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his anger towards the Supreme Court decision to overturn their win, promised unspecified actions against the judiciary that some believe have come to pass.
We have a problem with our judiciary, but regardless, we respect, but we shall revisit.
The judiciary has also been a victim of Parliament, which has the mandate to allocate resources to state bodies, where they have been threatened with budget cuts should they not toe their line. JSC also recommends the setting up of the Office of a Chief Executive Officer to run affairs at the Judicial Service Commission so as to delink the registrar from its affairs, arguing the two portfolios are quite heavy for the current office holder. JSC also wants powers to discipline judges in cases they call minor infractions that may not require the setting up of a tribunal by the president. Speaking to a matter that has also been subject to extensive discussions in Parliament at the Justice and Legal Affairs Committees, they also weighed in on the debate to review the period of listening to and adjudicating presidential elections. JSC recommends that the time be increased from the current 14 days to 30 days so as to have ample time to go through the provided evidence. JSC also says the thinking behind 14 days was premised on a digital election system. The judiciary body also wants the number of Supreme Court judges increased from the current 7 to 11, but maintain the quorum at 5. The argument is that the workload is increasing and they want to cushion the courts from any absenteeism that will arise. The country has also witnessed quorum hitches that have dogged the work of the Supreme Court. They also want a forum bringing together the heads of the three arms of government in a bid to solve issues that may arise amicably instead of constant public fighting. They argue that if there are periodic meetings between the President, the Chief Justice and the Speakers of Parliament, there are issues that could be solved speedily with their input needed. A case in point is the matter on the division of revenue that has been a point of discomfort between the three arms of government. The matter is yet to be solved almost 3 months later, with counties already giving a notice of a shutdown should there be no resolution this month. JSC also wants the office of the Deputy Chief Justice recognized and given powers in the Constitution, as well as a prescribed oath of office. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
The government has put 23 countries on drought alert. Actually, counties should on alert and has set aside about 5 billion shillings to respond to this year's round of the cyclic crisis. But a report from the Parliamentary Budget Office casts a dry spell on preparedness by government against the recurrent drought and famine now threatening the lives of over 2.5 million Kenyans. Now, this anatomy of a food crisis analysis asks whether Kenya can really rise above the perennial hunger. Given the climate change and human activities such as deforestation, recurrent drought is to be expected, and with that, the government should plan and budget properly to avoid food shortage. The report also says the county governments have simply failed to improve food security, focusing more on projects like road infrastructure, development and construction of buildings. They also say that the government policies have been seen to be more reactive than visionary, this hampering the ability of the government to improve livelihoods. Simply put, the report asserts that there's no magic to this to this issue of resolving the food crisis, and that there are plenty existing development strategies that can be utilized, this time more diligently. And unless leaders rise to the occasion, the crisis will still persist. No need to reinvent the wheel here. Collins Kiprono, known as Mtu wa Census in the social media world, became a sensation after a video of him dancing with children at the start of the census went viral. Collins was in the company of his colleagues and they were on their way to the Kericho Rehabilitation School for census, and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is looking for him to celebrate his passion, and we found him. NTV's Sharon Baranga brings us his story.
His bubbly persona thrust him into the national limelight. He was caught on video dancing with children who gleefully welcomed the census officials at the start of the exercise about a week ago. He did not know that his colleagues were recording as he danced with the children. Collins Kiprono, now known to many as Mtu wa Census, became an instant sensation on social media.
It apparently went viral, and I was not ready for that.
His heartwarming interaction with the minors, despite being on a hectic national duty, however, earned him admiration.
There are 3 things that I always do in life. If I don't be the reason as to why you change, I be the reason as to why you learn. If I don't be the reason as to why you learn, I be the reason as to why you smile. If I don't be the reason as to why you smile, I be the reason as to why you learn.
Collins was a special enumerator. This means he was tasked with counting the homeless, sick people and those traveling. He was on his way to the Kericho Rehabilitation School when he and the children met.
I was enumerating the travelers up to 4 a.m. 5 a.m. in the morning, sorry.
Collins has had a rough childhood, though he successfully completed his undergraduate studies at the Egerton University in 2017. He is yet to graduate due to huge fee arrears. He currently digs boreholes and latrines with the hope that he will eventually pay off his fee arrears, graduate, and make something of his life. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Talk about being passionate about your work. And yes, the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, you've been looking for him. Well, we have the contacts and you can get in touch. And well done to Kiprono. I don't think every enumerator was greeted with that excitement at different homes. Well, at least I tried to offer him something. But yes, it's over now. And of course, we'll be waiting for the results. There's a story there, actually, in terms of how many people were not counted. It's something we should be following up on. You're watching NTV Weekend Edition. We'll be back shortly. And also in the conversation of the Mao eviction, the second phase, which is supposed to begin. And there has been a lot of controversy around this, with different leaders giving their positions on this because of the lives that it affects. And of course, we all know the effect this has in terms of the environmental impact in the country and even in the region. And we have Aaron Cheriot, the Kericho senator, in studio. He has quite a number of reports that he's pouring through as he's waiting to engage in the conversation. Also joined by the Narok senator, Ledam us. Stay with us.
The University of Nairobi is receiving applications for the September 2019 intake. Interested applicants should apply online at application.uonbi.ac.ke. Choose a course from its diverse market-driven and internationally recognized programs in undergraduate, postgraduate and fellowship programs in arts, business, economics, journalism and mass communication, law, education, project planning and management, computer science, medicine, among many others. For more detail, visit our website www.uonbi.ac.ke. The University of Nairobi, a world-class university committed to scholarly excellence.
I learned the best way to succeed is by first defining your path. Just like climbing a tree, you focus on one branch at a time. Hold it, test its strength, climb it, and then focus on the next branch. What I came to realize, each and every aspect of our lives, mine included, as an Isuzu effect behind it. My dream is to make Kenya an Isuzu nation.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection.
and now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Sir, I'd like to report about something. It's about the death of Senator Reynoso. In today's life, a person always has two choices. The good and the bad.
Where did that come from?
Let's meet after New Year's Day. I'll hand over the evidence to you.
What's important is you stand by it. Whether it's life, family, and love.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Let's now take you to Nandi, where a small school there is making some big changes to its teaching curriculum to welcome to its family students with hearing impairment. Now, Kipkenduyo Primary School, I hope I got that right, has not only set up a deaf unit to cater for pupils with hearing impairment, but the rest of the school also learns sign language to help them interact. I'm sure that makes David Agondoa happy and make them feel more welcome. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga brings a story.
Nestled in Nandi County, when it is Kendeyu established pupils with impaired hearing the long walk to Kapsabet, the nearest school that can cater for their needs.
I decided to have these children here in school because their parents were not able to take them to well-established schools and expensive schools like Kapsabet School for the Deaf. That is 2018. I approached National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya, and they decided to give me some grants, and I put up some structures, and some are still on. So from the community, they have embraced this program because they can see their children in school, learning with the rest.
The entire school is learning the beautiful language known to many as the Kenya Sign Language. This will help them communicate and interact with the other students.
Sign language ilikuwa ngumu vile nilianza, lakini saa hizi tunavyoendelea hivi naona kama bado sio ngumu sana. Tunaendelea kuelewa.
Nilipenda tu kujifunza hii sign language kwa sababu shule yetu tuko na wanafunzi wasiosikia. Hatuwezi tukaongea nao kwa sababu hawawezi wakasikia. Ndio nikapendelea niweze nikajifunza sign language. Ndio nituelewane nao.
All the volunteers are deaf, and we are really advocating on inclusive education, especially for the deaf children and youth, to ensure they have access to education and equitable lifelong learning opportunities. So the team came in June. We are just training and sensitizing the pupils on sign language for communication purposes, to break the barrier that is experienced by mostly the deaf children.
For 3 months every day, learners have an hour or so with a team from the voluntary service overseas who teach them the basics of sign language. Enoch Ongwae is one of the volunteers. He lost his hearing when he was about 10 years old.
Went for kind of an entertainment, and there was music, loud music, and people were dancing and singing very loud music. Then later, a few days later, I had something like kind of vibrations in my ear. Like there was some kind of drumming or vibration in my ear. So I went for assessment, and the nurse said, "You've already become deaf." Sign language, yes. You can learn for 3 months, yes. And you can clearly understand sign language.
We are happy it's already recognized in the Constitution. So we are hoping and looking forward to seeing a situation whereby it's fully implemented and put in like a mandatory examinable subject for even the hearing pupils, because it's not just about the deaf children learning the language on their own, because they'll need to be communicating or integrating with the other hearing pupils.
Classes in the deaf unit are offered in a special way. Their teachers have to create the content on their textbooks so that it is easy for the pupils to grasp what they are being taught. The project of including sign language in mainstream schools is meant to ensure deaf youth and children access education and achieve their career aspirations.
Sign language is both visual and gestural. For anyone to learn it, one has to be attentive and passionate at the same time. I am Sharon Baranga, reporting for NTV from Nandi County.
Well done to Sharon and the students there. Thank you for that report. And that is where my knowledge of sign language has reached as of now. Now, on a day of prayer and solemn reflection, trouble had been stirring outside, I should say, the Gatamayo AIC Church in Kiambu, as worshippers disrupted service, demanding the immediate removal of their local pastor, accusing him of engaging in blatant corruption in the church. The angry worshippers lit bonfires outside the church, interrupting normal Sunday service, and they accused their pastor of corrupt dealings, including with some of the from their contribution. Before demanding action, national bishop to help piece the church back together, the pastor was not available for comment.
Yeah, we want the
transparency ya pesa ndio nilifutwa kwa sababu ya kusema ukweli. Hawataki niandike vile inatakikana. Hawataki niandike pesa. Tukitumia pesa hii, hawataki niseme tumetumia hiyo.
Ili tuweze kuwa na wakati mzuri wa kuelewana, lazima tufunge hii kanisa, tuweze kuongea maneno haya tukiwa nje ya kanisa, sababu hii jengo imetegewa Mwenyezi Mungu, hiyo nyumba ya maombi iwe nyumba ya sala ya Bwana, na kwa hivyo ndio tukaona hii maneno tunaweza tu kuiongea tukiwa kwa barabara.
Hakotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli says he is certain Deputy President William Ruto will not be on the ballot come 2022. According to Atwoli, the DP had disrespected the president and that would cost him the country's top seat.
2022 we are going to have a leader. Mtapiga kura kwa kiongozi wa kuongoza nchi hii. Na kati ya hao viongozi watakuwa kwa serikali William Samoei Ruto, Boni Halwale, na hao wote ambao wako mrengo huo hawatakuwa ndani ya serikali. Any politician sahi, as I'm talking, who is opposed to handshake, who is opposed kwa mambo ya BBI, na mimi nataka ukiwa na kalamu uandike kabisa. Hatuendi mbali, hamtamuona katika uongozi wa Kenya. Akiwa atakuwa kwa upinzani.
It's past half the hour on NTV Weekend Edition. Now, many of you were expecting the Sins of Saviors documentary, something that we've been working on for the last 4 months. And yes, because of a court order that has an injunction, actually, that has been stopped for now. And of course, our team is working overtime to make sure that we vacate this order and make sure that Sins of Saviors by Edmund Yabola and team airs. And this is, of course, for the good of the children who have been facing a lot of the abuse under the Child Welfare Society of Kenya, based on evidence that we have gathered over 4 months. This Sins of Saviors documentary, we assure you, we are dedicated to making sure that you get the details of this, and the perpetrators in this particular piece are brought to book. Let's take a quick break again here on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, the Mao eviction conversation is on.
Looking for an institution to further your studies and wholesome growth in a serene environment? Kenya Methodist University KEMU is your best choice. Join our market-driven programs at Diploma, Bachelor's, Master's and PhD in Meru, Nairobi and Mombasa campuses and shape your career path. September 2019 and January 2020 intakes are ongoing. Call us today on 0724 256 162 or 0725 751-878. Kenya Methodist University. The future is here.
Now you can get your Uber ride with a phone call. Call 0800 722 000 to ride. Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
Kenya Urban Roads Authority headquarters has moved from the IKM place, which was on Ngong Avenue, to Barabara Plaza. And the purpose of moving is just to offer more efficient and effective services. This is just one-stop shop for our customers in the road subsector.
Visit us at Barabara Plaza off Mombasa Road opposite KCAA, Airport South Road, JKIA. Or get us at www.kura.go.ke. Kenya Urban Roads Authority, delivering efficient and safe urban road network. Welcome to Kibabii University, a center of academic excellence whose mission is to enhance new knowledge in science, technology and innovation through quality training, research, consultancy and outreach programs. Apply now for our September intakes for postgraduate, degree and diploma programs in the following schools and faculties: School of Computing and Informatics, School of Business and Economics, School of Graduate Studies, Faculty of Sciences and Faculty of Education and Social Sciences. For more inquiries, call us on 0708 08 5934 or 0734 831 729 or visit our website www.kibu.ac.ke. Kibabii University, knowledge for development.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition, and one of our top stories this evening, and it will be a headlining story in the week to come, is that on the Mau eviction. And the government is set to embark on, and actually has already effected, the second phase of the eviction, where at least 10,000 people will be affected. And some people have started moving out as the Kenya Wildlife Service and other officers move in to effect this particular eviction of families that are within the Mau forest. And it has been met with a lot of contention. Some of the leaders are against this. And of course, you know, we're working with a 2-month ultimatum that people have been given to vacate, as leaders are telling them, some leaders are telling them to stay put. And just this afternoon, we got the word that the Environment CS, Keriako Tobiko, has been summoned by the Parliamentary Environment Committee to explain more and further in terms of this particular eviction, second phase of the eviction. And we have in studio the Kericho Senator Aaron Cheruyot, and he's been vocal on this particular issue, and he'll be joined by Ledamo Lekina in a bit. Let's start, very simple note: to conserve or not to conserve, to evict or not to evict. Where do you stand?
On the two issues, Mark, to conserve or not to conserve, the answer is obvious: to conserve. And I am a practical example because I come from a county whose record on conservation of the Mau is one that should be replicated across the country. You must remember, Mau Forest Complex covers 7 counties. And if there's a section of the Mau that is properly conserved, it is the one that runs along the county that I represent. And I'll later be telling you how we're able to achieve that.
Okay.
On the second issue, to evict or not to evict, anybody living inside the Mau forest should be evicted pronto.
Okay. So right now, the eviction that is being effected by the government, you are opposed to it.
Yes.
Why exactly? Because it's not the first time that they've said this or have actually called for this action to be taken. And it seems that you would believe that the government is evicting the wrong people.
Yes, exactly. Because unlike in the past, Mark, you must remember 2 things very critical to this debate. Mau, the Masai, the Mau complex has got 22 blocks. 21 of them are inside the forest, and they are gazetted public land for forest purposes. And we have been very categorical as leaders, because there are people who are living inside of that forest, that they should leave as soon as possible, and they should be evicted so that you are able to conserve the environment. But this current phase of a portion known as Masai Mau Trust land is not in the forest.
Okay.
And Keriako Tobiko wants to brutally kick out citizens of this country who have got genuine title deed. I'm sure you saw him yesterday trying to explain and say, you know, these titles are fake. But the thing that Keriako Tobiko forgets is that he has a counterpart in the Ministry of Lands. By a simple phone call, he should have asked for the soundness of these titles. And that minister would have told him, in the case that is in court right now, between those citizens, because those citizens have gone to court, and the case is before the Environmental and Lands Court in Nakuru.
Yes.
The government is now trying to cancel those titles. So there's no way that government can go to court to cancel title deeds if they were fake.
Yes.
If they were fake, they would have kicked out people. But the fact of the matter is that these are genuine, title deeds or letters of allotment, just like the rest of the country. Everybody else has titles and lands of allotment across the country.
Is your argument on the whether genuine or fake title deeds or the area that they are actually living in, that even if they're encroaching on a water catchment area, their title deed, if it's genuine, should justify them staying?
Mark, there have been 2 very major presidential task forces that have been before us. One of 1991, known as a Presidential Olentutu Commission, and the one of 2009 that was set up by President Kibaki and then but managed from Prime Minister Raila Odinga's office. Each of those, that is part of the documents that I have brought before you, and I'll be showing you if you can beam in. One of the things that they say is that in treatment of this debate, the 21 blocks should be treated separately from this particular one block of Masai Mau, such that if it gets to a point where government feels that this block is too close to the forest, and by people living there, there are danger to the Masai to the Mau forest, then what Keriako Tobiko needs to do is to begin the process of gazetting this particular place as a forest. And there's a process. There's a laid down national land policy on how you do it. And
are you saying that initially it wasn't gazetted?
It isn't.
It is not known to be a water catchment area?
I challenge CS Tobiko, if he has any gazette notice showing that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest, let him show it to the country. There is none. In all these reports that are brought before NTV, from Olentutu Commission, Hassanur Commission of 2009, they recognize this particular place as a place that is disputed, but people have got titles for this particular place. Hence, if you want to degazette it, because there is good argument. You know, somebody can say because of the proximity to the forest, there is likelihood of human activity into the forest. Therefore, if you push such an argument, and it makes sense even to me if I listen to him, there's a process of how you follow. You know, this is a government. You just can't show up and tell people to vacate. The CS
they just haven't shown up. This has come up over and over again. And whenever it comes up, it's met with the same resistance with political leaders. And of course, the argument is that these people are here genuinely, and that argument that you're pushing about the genuine documents, that they have a right to stay there. And indeed, every Kenyan has a right to live, of course, in any part of the country, as long as they're there legally. They're not encroaching on any public land or even water catchment areas, such as this particular issue. But it seems a lot politically, you know, inspired, or even undertones of protecting our people. Is it a thing of a certain tribe being targeted, and that is why this is being fought?
Well, I don't know about our people, but you see, I am an elected representative of the people. Part of what is my work is to speak out whenever it is my constitutional duty. You know, when I was sworn into office, I swore to protect and defend the Constitution. What the Cabinet Secretary is doing is completely illegal, and not only illegal, but criminal. Because when you show up and want to close 15 public schools, that tomorrow, as kids all over the country are reporting back to school, the kids in the Masai Mau Trust Land do not have a school to report to, because the Cabinet Secretary has just out of the blue showed up and given an illegal directive that nobody should go to school. Then we are duty bound to speak out.
And that line has been used, and indeed it is very unfortunate that children's schooling would be interrupted in this manner. But there have been questions as to how these schools have been set up. Yes, even public schools that have been funded by the government, and even the title deeds that you're talking about that have been handed to people, and they're genuine title deeds, are those who claim to have genuine title deeds. But two wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly.
So if the schools have been set up and they're serving children, if they're not meant to be there, they should vacate.
But why would you conclude that they are not meant to be there? Yet I have told you that the title they have is from the government of Kenya. Up to this point as we speak, that place, and there is no, I challenge anybody. You know, every time when you speak, people sometimes look at us as if we are anti-conservation. I challenge any Kenyan who has a document showing that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest to please come forth and show us. I will ask those people
if this particular issue is proven, that indeed those who are here are in a forest area, a water catchment area that should not, an area that should be conserved, and they should vacate. If this is proven, you support this eviction?
I will
100%.
I will support 100%. But the unfortunate thing is that it cannot be proven because there isn't such a basis. This is just a public, these are people going about their life just like the rest of us in every particular part of the country. You know, they have either a title deed or an allotment letter. Therefore, the point that we continue to raise, you see, conservation, Mark, is an empirical and methodical process. If you find that there is human activity, first of all, you stop the human activity, you secure the particular forest, you reforestate. Is there any evidence?
Wouldn't you of securing that area in terms of eviction?
Listen,
so that you
in
can
2005, there were evictions. 2009, there were evictions.
Yes.
Last year, 2018, there were evictions. I challenge NTV, please send your cameras tomorrow.
And they're headed there tomorrow.
To those particular places,
yes,
and see if even a single shrub has been put up to try and secure and build up, you know, our forest cover, because that is now the proper conservation. That is how we have been able to do it in Kericho, the county that I come from. If you're able to find your way there, then you will realize why some of us are saying, if you want to conserve, and we are all for conservation, if you want to conserve the Mau forest, there is a way that you're supposed to carry out this particular exercise. But this spontaneous...
Shouldn't it be an immediate approach to this?
Yes.
And of course it did, yes.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
They should have an immediate approach to it.
Yes.
But it seems that you're asking for more time. Like, when will we ever be ready?
More time for what? I haven't asked for any time.
More time to at least give these communities an opportunity. First of all, you're talking about the kids who are studying there. Let them at least finish this third term so that they can at least not have their system of education interrupted. But the immediacy of this cannot be overemphasized. That is the intervention to save the Mau forest. So what you're telling us, Mheshimiwa, is there is no form of encroachment, even with the pictures available that we all have seen from whichever media house that you'll be watching. There's no form of encroachment that is going on in the Mau forest.
By the way, later on, when you are done with this, let me first correct what you have said, yes. Mark. I have not put out any argument for extension of time. The issue of extension of time doesn't arise because these people are not living in a forest. That is a point that we want the country to understand. And I have challenged the country that if there is anyone who can provide me with either a gazette notice or a title to the KFS that confirms that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest, I will be the first one to ask those people to leave. But there is nothing of the course. Neither the 2009 Hassan Nur Commission, neither the presidential Olentutu Task Force of 1991 confirms the same. Therefore, there cannot be an issue of the time. The point that we have always consistently tried to push is that once you have secured the boundaries of Mau Forest, please move with speed and reforestate. But government is not keen on listening. Keriako Tobiko doesn't have the aura and, you know, the ethos of a public servant. You have seen him speak on TV, say things like, I don't care. You know, that's not the language that is expected of a cabinet secretary.
He spoke and said, give me a break. When will you ever be ready?
That kind of a language isn't what we expect from a public servant.
But given the effects that this has had on the environment, first of all, you haven't answered the question as to whether or can, you know, agree or disagree that there is encroachment activities within the Mau forest.
In fact, that's a very good question to answer. Mark, number one, there is no debate whether there has been destruction of a Mau forest. Nobody can argue against that.
Happening.
I overfly that place on my way home each and every week, and I weep because I see what has happened inside of the Mau.
Okay.
And I have been a defender saying that all these people that have encroached into the forest need to be kicked out immediately, as soon as possible. There is no day I will oppose eviction of anyone living inside of the Mau forest. That is very clear. But number two, the country has been sold a lie. That it is these people, these small people that you're seeing carrying axes and pangas that have destroyed the Mau. That's not the truth. One day, one time,
who is destroying
you guys need to find out the damage that is caused by the multinational sawmillers that live across the Mau.
You are a leader.
Because
you say you're a leader, of course, being the leader of Kericho, and the effect on the Mau would affect you directly. So you're very much interested in knowing that those who are encroaching or carrying out those activities are brought to book. And you're talking about some people, the big people, not these ones who are carrying the djembes and the pangas. So who is encroaching there?
I've told you they are multinationals or millers that operate around Baringo, around Nakuru, around this Narok area. And one time, I think one of your, it's a very simple assignment. By the way, as soon as you pick your cameras tomorrow, ask those people to just go within Mau Forest and see, even as we speak right now, if they will not be able to spot trucks, huge trucks, the 26-wheelers, from these big multi-billion sawmilling companies carrying timber from inside of a Mau forest. But because they are powerful, they are able to oil people's pockets. Nobody's talking about their issue.
That's why you're
here. Don't buy
talk
the lie.
Talk about it and name those people that you claim are actually those the government should be getting. Name them.
The tip cells of this world. I do not have the particular each and every name of a particular company, but these are things that you watch and observe in each and a particular day. You know, some of them have become smart enough to the point that they no longer use company-branded lorries, but you can see huge trucks of lorries that are carrying out timber from Mau Forest. And the question you ask, who is protecting these guys? That's a question that I would wish Keriako Tobiko will be able to answer, because he has the resources to be able to establish this. I do not have.
Okay, with your argument of the title deeds, if indeed it is found that there are people who are living there, they don't have genuine title deeds and they're being evicted because there has been a concern of having humanitarian standards in evicting them, what would your request be to the government?
My request to the government is, can you be sincere in your efforts? And you know, this is why, and there's something I said today which I want to repeat on this TV. In June of 2017, in this particular area today, where CS Tobiko and Natembea wants to close public primary school, I stood there with none other than President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto. And we spoke to those people, asked them to vote for this administration, that in return we will build schools, we will build roads, we will build hospitals. 2 years down the line, for a cabinet secretary from the same government to return and ask those people to get out of the disputed area is not only hypocritical, but it's marks of all the arrogance of government. Therefore,
just because you stood there during a campaign,
listen,
just because you stood there during a campaign doesn't mean that a cabinet secretary should necessarily follow the promises that were given, and we know how the promises end up during campaign periods, that he should stick by the promises made during the campaign. If he is a cabinet secretary of environment and he is there to protect the interest of the environment and the integrity of the environment, then he should stick to that. So are you saying that he is acting on his own initiative, and this is not at all on behalf of the government? Keriako Tobiko.
Exactly. I want to say so, because as we speak today, and this is a challenge that I gave to CS Tobiko, which I want to see him present before Parliament, because I've seen the Parliamentary Committee on Environment has summoned him. Can he show to the country the cabinet decision, including minutes where this issue was discussed and arrived at, so that we can know that now government has changed its earlier position of 2017, and now they have a different look at this, and they're confirming, or either they're thinking right now is that the Masai Mau area is now a public forest.
All right.
It will be good. At least the decent thing to do would be to turn back to those people and say, we are sorry, we were wrong. Okay. We thought that you guys were living in your proper homes, but we have since established that it's a forest. That will be at least the simple and the most decent thing to do. But showing up and asking, kids from 15 schools that telling them do not report to school tomorrow, that is completely unfair. Right. And in fact, I want to ask those children to report to school tomorrow. Nobody will do anything to you.
Oh, so not to follow the government directive?
That is not a government directive. That's a personal opinion.
It's a Keriako Tobiko directive.
Yes.
This is not at all sanctioned by the government.
You saw what the PS for Education said when he appeared before Parliament.
All right, we have Ledama Olekina. He's actually just joining us now, just for this particular conversation, as if you may just take the seat, because there was an issue, of course, that held you up as you were making your way here. And while you were away, Bona Aaron Cheriot made the argument that this particular exercise that is being carried out, first of all, by Keriako Tobiko is very personal in terms of it not being genuine, because he believes those that are being evacuated or evicted are genuine title holders and they are not on forest land. What do you say?
First of all, let me say this. I just got back from Narok and I'm a very, very happy person because the government is doing what all of us have been crying for the last 2 decades, for people to be able to leave our water towers, to live, to conserve the environment. So I'm a very happy camper. I can say to my brother, I'm actually surprised because on the doing is something future generation. We had 5 group ranches. We know all the facts of those group ranches. There are some Masai leaders who belong to jail now, who also colluded with some people from Rift Valley, and they stole the land. In fact, what Cheriot should be doing now is not insulting Keriako Tobiko, who is doing what everyone has been dying for. What he should be doing now is that he should be parading all those people that he alleges own title deeds, take them through the process of title deeds, and then come with facts.
He says, and he says it should be a very easy task for Keriako to just call his counterpart.
No. That's not Keriako's work.
Yes.
That is not Keriako's work, Mark. Just give me a minute.
Right.
That is not Keriako's work. As far as we are concerned, we have had 2 commissions. You know, we've had the Olentutu one, we've had the Nur, and they have all come up with the same conclusion, that those people who have encroached into the forest are using poor people to pretend that, oh, it's the poor people who are being attacked. In fact, what should happen is this. Let me tell you, because I had Cheriot and his other tribal kakuns talking about insulting Keriako Tobiko, saying that Keriako Tobiko has not done anything. Let me tell him, last year, we removed people from the Mau forest, we planted trees, and those trees are growing.
The restoration is happening.
Yes. Right. So when you say that Keriako has never done anything, we've done it.
Can I read, you know, you've got to understand my friend Ledam.
No, proceed. Proceed. I know very well. In fact, by the time, let me tell you, I am almost 15 years older than you. And by the time we were talking about Mau Forest, I have the facts. I know them.
Okay. So just go by what you want.
I think I gave him his time. You know, I know.
No, I'll give you the time. I will give you the time.
No, you don't have to get the report.
No, what you're doing is absolutely ludicrous to insult. I'll keep quiet.
Go ahead.
But don't insult the government.
Go ahead.
Proceed.
Will I have my time?
Go ahead.
We'll give you your time.
You've already taken a bit.
So good. Listen, Mark. This is the report of the government task force. You know, on Masai Mau, the one that was famous during Grand Coalition government. And it speaks about the general recommendations about the conservation of the Mau forest. And on page 29, I'd wish Ledama to look for that particular report because it was tabled in Parliament and it is a record of public document. It speaks about how to deal with this particular issue. And number 1, facts, it speaks about funds being made available to fully implement this particular task force report because it says 21 blocks forest, public forest and public forest land. But this particular Masai Mau trust land, number 1, is not gazetted as a forest. And I want to challenge Ledama, if he has any document, and I want to give you a week, produce before this country, any gazette notice that shows that Masai Mau is a trust land, is a forest. Number 2, there is a process that you follow when you want to declare a particular place to be a forest. Supposing Keriako Tobiko and his colleagues at Environment have sat down and have thought through this and have said, because of the proximity of Masai Mau Trustland to Mau Forest, that it endangers the survival of this particular process. There is a process how you gazette a public land to become.
And you say in the history of our nation, this
in
area
the history of our country
is not considered forest.
I want to ask you, Keriako Tobiko, or your friend Ledama here, please produce any government document that shows Masai Mau is a trust land.
Let me respond. We don't need Keriako Tobiko to respond to that. I will respond to that. We, the people of Narok, the Masai, not the Kipsigis from Kericho, set that land aside. So we don't want this nonsense of people from Kericho coming to tell us that this land has not been gazetted. We set it aside so that we can be able to ensure that rivers continue to flow. Even in Kericho this year, which is a fact.
What about the process that he says?
Now, let us go through this document that he's talking about.
So is that a document?
He is reading this document selectively. Selectively. Okay? Reading it selectively. I've read all these documents from page 1 to the end. It has named individuals who have
including
it's just another name. That's bullshit.
I will show you.
That is not his name.
Language. Okay, we're past watershed
excuse my language.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is this. You cannot come here and lie to the people of Kenya. The rivers are drying. This is about conservation. If you care about the Kipsigis, take them to Kericho. There's a lot of land out there. Take them there.
Matter.
Tea is drying in Kericho.
It doesn't matter how much this guy shouts.
You cannot come
so long as he doesn't produce any document. All this is nonsense.
Let's take a break at this point. Let's take a break at this point. I'll be back.
I have asked him to produce a document.
What document do you want me to
produce? A week. But
I don't need a week.
He will never.
Let's take a couple of minutes. I'll be back shortly.
It is our land.
Yes, we'll be back
shortly. It is our land.
My friend,
in fact, the Bible says, Deuteronomy chapter verse 28 says,
When you sign up for autocorrect from Heritage Insurance, we will install a telematics device in your vehicle. You will also enjoy rewards by accumulating points for good driving. You can save up to 15% of your insurance premium. Autocorrect from Heritage. For more, SMS autocorrect to 22922 or visit autocorrect.heritageinsurance.co.ke.
I'm hungry.
Yes, with some extra fries. Delivery on the way.
So extra.
Aren't you tired of hoping for candidates to see? No!
So extra.
Has to be extra because extra data is always better with extra minutes. Dial *544# to subscribe and share Live Extra. Telkom, moving with you.
The University of Nairobi is receiving applications for the September 2019 intake. Interested applicants should apply online at application.uonbi.ac.ke. Choose a course from its diverse market-driven and internationally recognized programs in undergraduate, postgraduate and fellowship programs in arts, business, economics, journalism and mass communication, law, education, project planning and management, computer science, medicine, among many others. For more detail, visit our website www.uonbi.ac.ke. The University of Nairobi, a world-class university committed to scholarly excellence.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Rough and tough quality textured coating gives your walls a tough and beautiful finish. Available in over 6,000 shades, it hides surface imperfections. Call us on 0709 887 000 to place your order. Crown. If you like it, crown it.
Welcome back. I'm not sure if you caught that last word that was uttered here. There's the argument of the 15 schools funded by the government, public schools, that are within this area that is being evacuated. The people are being evicted. I should use the word evicted. Then someone on the sidelines watching this would say, how did the government set up these installations, knowing very well that this is within a water catchment area?
Let me respond to that. The way the government works in terms of promoting education is in two ways. One, through the Ministry of Education, where they give grants to schools. The second one is through the CDF board. Most members of parliament go out there and they build schools, and they build schools for their people. The current Ministry of Education is run by the PS, who is the accounting officer, is of course, he's a Kipsigis, and he's from that area. And you remember very well, there were those military men, or rather men and women in uniform, fought in Sierra Leone. So this, when they see a huge population is concentrated in an area, they don't go and they carry out a public participation, or they ask for the school to produce a title deed for them to be able to put the school. Because they want to continue being in office, they just go to the community, show. After the kids the fault parliament who go out there because they want to get votes, and where the numbers are, you know, my food as a politician are people. Where there are more people, I go there. But let me put it this way. Those schools are built in a trust land. Trust land which we, the people of Narok, we, not the Kericho people, we, the Masais of Narok, set it aside because we discovered that it is the one which was feeding the Mara River. It is even the one which is feeding these fellows down there in Kericho. It is the one which is feeding people in Western Kenya, all the way to the Nile. So really, this issue is not about politics. This is about conservation. And it's about time that we focus on conservation so that we can be able to have a better country.
But in a lot of what you say, there's the undertones of the tribal undertones, because you keep saying we. But yes, it is for the good of the whole of the country, because it benefits the whole of the country.
Let me finish, because you've just asked me that question.
Yes.
I have repeated here, and it's a fact, that the former leaders, the former Masai leaders who were there during the county council era, the Ndimamas and the, you know, all the ones who came before us, are the ones who gave land to these fellows. Okay? When they gave them land, these guys from Kipsigis, they have land in Kericho, they have land in Bomet, and I'm telling you, even Tugans, and that's why you see former President Moi having a lot of land there, has land where? In Eldoret.
Question is this land acquired legitimately?
This land, you know, I've had, it has not been acquired legally. It has not been acquired legally because the Masais, and you understand this, Mark, because you grew up in Narok, we have group ranches. And those group ranches are, you know, sort of like set out aside, and you can be able to tell that this group ranch is about 100 acres, or this group ranch is about 5,000 acres. Now, when these crooked fellows came in, and they expanded the group ranch, and they sold land to these fellows, to a few of them, not all of them. So what I was saying, for us to be mature on these matters, let those people who were sold land by the so-called Masai landowners to go after those Masai landowners, because in this country, we have the rule of law. If you obtain money under false pretense, then you go to jail. You understand?
Yes.
So if I, Ledamo Lekena, sold land to Aaron Cheriot to come in and live in the Mau forest, and the land does not belong to me, I go to jail. And we do leave conservation alone.
All right, let's get into that issue, the political
Can I also have my time now? And I hope Ledama will be as peaceful as I was when he was speaking. Because number one, Ledama is misleading the country. There is nobody who was given land. All these people bought this land. They paid money for it. And the title they have is from the government of Kenya. not the government of any other country. Number two, Ledama, as your colleague, sometimes you make me feel embarrassed on your behalf because I cannot come on national TV and try to domicile a particular county as if it belongs to only a single tribe. I know Narok County very well. Almost all tribes of this republic live in Narok, just as is the same for Kericho. Therefore, I would expect my colleague, when he's pushing his point, push it on grounds that you're speaking for the people of Narok and not for a particular community. Because Mau Forest, I have told you, Mark Masai, and you know this for a fact, covers 7 counties. And the longest part of Mau Forest is in Kericho County. It is properly conserved, full to the brim. That is why we have rain in Kericho almost full time. So between Ledama and myself, I am the one who is supposed to teach him how to do conservation. He cannot possibly teach me. The thing that I need to tell you,
your area being very well conserved.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't there need then,
yeah,
in this particular area that is contested,
yeah,
for it to be restored?
Yes.
And that is why this particular exercise is going on. So, but bless it.
But since we began this interview, I have told you that we must conserve the Mau in its entirety.
Yes.
Anybody living inside of the forest must be gotten out as soon as possible.
And that is what Keriako Tobiko is saying.
No. Keriako Tobiko is in this particular place called Masai Mau Trust Land. You can read it, Mark.
Where the evictions are.
Where evictions are going on. And this is the presidential task force of 2009. It says the Masai Mau Trust Land has never been surveyed as a forest and it has never been gazetted. It is not a forest. That is one. So number two, if your friend Tobiko feels that he wants to gazette this particular place to be a forest, I have asked and I have said, there's no problem, Ledama. Let him follow the law. Just argue.
Let me tell you something.
Argue for the rule of law. Let him possibly follow the proper procedure. Call people and say, those titles of yours, I want to revoke them.
Where's a part of common sense? For instance, I mean, without the gazettement notice, for a layman, and you just ask you, is this a forest or isn't it? Is it a catchment, water catchment area, and for the benefit of the entire nation, in terms of the environmental benefits that it brings, is it a forest or not?
Masai Mau is not a forest. Mau Forest is a water catchment area. You need to distinguish the two. That's where the whole. That's where the likes of Ledama.
Yes.
That's where the likes of Ledama are confusing the country. You know, they come and give big speeches about conservation, try to make some of us as if we are anti-conservation.
So where right now the government boots are, it's not.
It is not a forest, and that's why you remember I asked Ledama the first question that I asked him when he walked into this studio. Please show me any document that shows that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest. And I've given him a week.
My friend,
let us see if he'll be able to produce it.
I will not. I don't need your week. I can give you the answer here. The answer is very clear.
I don't need an answer.
We, the people of Narok, you are from Kericho, go back to Kericho. We, the people of Narok County, before it was Narok County Council, we are the ones who set up that land. And we preserved it because we saw that it was a water catchment area. It is the one which is feeding Masai Mara, where we collect most of our revenue. It is us who made that decision. You've indicated here clearly that you've conserved the land in Kericho. So you know what? You conserve your land in Kericho, and then you come and destroy ours. We will not let you do that. And what Keriako Tobiko is doing, and let me put it this way, because I've listened to you talk. You know, I'm not the one who embarrasses you. You are the one who is an embarrassment to yourself. Because you cannot go on national television and insult a cabinet secretary and tell him that he's an idiot. You cannot go out there and say, show me where you've been able to gazette. We are the people of Narok, and as a senator of Narok County, it is my duty to protect the interests of those people.
Which century do you live in Ledama?
Let me tell you, you go back to Kericho, and if you want to really, if you care so much about these people, you say my people. If you care about these people, you say about my people. Go and chase those guys, those Wazungus, who have occupied thousands and thousands of acres planting tea, and take your people.
In simple, Mark Masai, in all those many words, what he's telling you, there is no document. That's why he resorts back to the people, with the Masai.
Let me tell you.
He has no document.
Let me tell you.
And neither does Keriako Tobiko have any document to show that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest. It can never be.
Keriako Tobiko has been summoned, and they are going ahead with this second phase of eviction. You've told your people to stay put.
Yes.
The government is going ahead with the eviction.
Mark,
what will you do?
I want to tell the people of Masai Mau Trustland, those kids who are supposed to report to those 15 primary schools, please report as early as 7 a.m. tomorrow, and Keriako Tobiko will do nothing about it.
Let me tell you,
because
Mark. Yes.
we live in a country that is governed by the rule of law. You cannot just wake up and run the country as if it's your personal business. You know, there's a process.
Mark,
if
that law that you quote, Mark, if indeed it is proven, and I've asked you again this before, that this area that you are occupying, you should not be here for the better of our environment as a nation, you should move out.
I will do that. I will
Mark,
be on the
forefront.
Let
me respond to this. Yes. First of all, it is very reckless for a senator to advise people which law. Then the government
what you need to and every
there's no allotment.
On this party,
there is no allotment.
His problem.
You allot a plot. You don't allot a land. Don't confuse us.
I get tired of this guy.
Because we're not thugs.
Because my question to you is,
don't lie to Kenyans.
Be decent. Keep quiet.
No,
I was quiet when you were
need to
debating.
be decent, and you need to take those people back and occupy those
You
lands.
need to train this guy how to debate.
I do know how to debate.
If you know how to debate, keep quiet when I'm talking.
Have facts. Put the facts on the table. We can deal with the facts. I don't want to deal with
to that point of compensation.
But will I be allowed my time?
If this is an avenue,
yes,
as you're concluding, if this is an avenue that we can pursue, you would go with it.
Yeah, no, we don't need to pursue. That information is already here. Government has had it for the last 10 years.
So what's wrong with having them who are in there get compensation for other land elsewhere so we can conserve this area?
You know, actually three things are documented here as options for that particular area.
Yes.
Number one is compensation.
Yes.
Number two is give them alternative land.
Yes.
Number three is status quo, retain it as it is. That is why that particular area is known as the status quo area. And Ledama should not come and lecture us here about conservation as if we don't care about it.
Just to get you clear,
I do care about the environment.
You will be okay with the eviction if the compensation and alternatives are given to these. So the issue is the land.
The issue is the land.
Alternative.
The fact that government can show up on your land where you have a title deed and ask you to leave without having a discussion with you.
The issue is not whether this area is to be conserved. In terms of where they are right now, it is actually part of the Mau forest that they need to
I have said time without number that is not an issue. If in their studies they have established that they need this particular area to be able to keep on, the regeneration of if they have done that, I have said there is a legal way at achieving it. Not the way to Keriako Tobiko is carrying it.
Right.
You don't show up. You don't show up at people's doors and just ask them to leave.
Okay.
Mark,
they didn't just show up though. This has been coming up
let me
over
tell
and
you,
over again.
We've been asking these people to leave. The government is asking them to leave. The people of Narok because people. I heard that if are going to court, please go. We will also go to court. And guess what? All Mau forest must be conserved. Whether you like it or not, it must be conserved for the future generations.
For the record, it is not just for the Ma people,
it
is for the whole
nation.
This one does not know the difference.
Okay. No, let me tell you.
This one will never know the difference.
Conversation because I'll be faded out. And gentlemen, we can continue with this conversation. And it's something that we will be keen on. All it boroughs will be going there to the ground to follow through with this process as it's being implemented. it's quite a heated one, and it won't end in just one sitting. Thank you for watching that. But the bulletin continues. Let's take a quick break.
Why aren't you wearing the ring? 2 is company.
I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about this.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Welcome to Turkana University College. Turkana University is a center of research, innovation, and technological development for advancement of the society. The university is located in the vast resource-rich county of Turkana. We offer unique competency-based training in schools of sciences, business and economics, education, and TVET training. Apply now for our January, May, and September intakes for postgraduate degree and diploma certificate in the following programs: environmental sciences, business administration, environmental health, human evolution biology, renewable energy and technology, education, development studies and social work, information technology, public administration and management, agriculture, early childhood development, ECDE, water technology, marine sciences, petroleum studies, among other courses. Turkana University, the cradle of knowledge.
Just as you'd study for an exam, study up on the field that interests you and the position you hope to achieve. Knowing the ins and outs of your preferred career path will help you enter the job market with eyes wide open.
September 2019 intake is ongoing for the following CBET courses: simple automation, lathe machine operator, manual metal arc welding, among others. Apply now and enjoy reduced tuition fee. The Nyeri National Polytechnic, excel in skills and technology.
I'd like to report about something. It's about the death of Senator Reynoso. In today's life, a person always has two choices: the good and the bad.
Where did that come from?
Let's meet after New Year's Day. I'll hand over the evidence to you.
What's important is you stand by it, whether it's life, family, and love.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. National women's football team Harambee Starlets advanced to the third round of the 2020 Olympic qualifier with a 5-3 aggregate score after seeing off Malawi 3-0 in the second leg played at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. The match, which was played behind closed doors, saw Starlets take the lead in the 18th minute of Cynthia Shilwato. Monalima Dogo Adams scored the second in the 77th minute before ensuring the victory with her second 10 minutes later. Starlets, who had lost 3-2 in the first leg, will next face the winner from the match beating Ghana and Gabon in the third round of the qualifiers.
Mwanadada huyu anamtafuta Halima Chimwanda, anapata katika gamba lake la kifua, anatuliza pale Halima,
Sometimes strongest teams are always analyzed in terms of their comeback. The situation was, it was not possible for us to get the comeback in Malawi, but my belief was I had the strongest team to overturn the leg here at home.
Kenya is a very big team. If you see Kenya every time, they're changing squad. As Malawi is the same squad every time. Kenya, they have maybe 40 player, key player, good player.
The experienced team, they took advantage of home advantage. So they look at our weaknesses and they utilize on them. So that's why they've won the game.
And Zoo FC and Kakamega Homeboys collected important season opening wins as match day 1 of the Kenyan Premier League concluded this evening. Kakamega Homeboys saw off AFC Leopards 1-0 in the Western Derby, played at the Bukungu Stadium. New signing Stephen Etiang scored the lone goal of the match. Elsewhere at the Kericho Green Stadium, Zoo FC was too good for Chemelil Sugar, as Kefa Ondati, Derek Anami and Newton Ondari were on target for Zoo, while Atumani Moyo netted the Sugar Millers consolation. Zoo climbed to third place behind leaders Gor Mahia and KCB in second place. And Alpha Sadunga landed a sudden death try as KCB clawed Nakuru RFC 12-7 to lift the Christie Sevens title at the RFA grounds. Wanyore led 7-0 through Monante Akwe's converted try. Jeffrey Okowach had been recovered to touch down. His try converted by Samuel Asati. Adunga was then put through to score for the win that saw KCB, who won the Kakamega and Dallas 7 stretch their Stanbic Bank National 7 Series lead to 94 points. They only need a semi-final show in the final leg of Driftwood Sevens in Mombasa next weekend to lift the series title. National Under-15 football team believe they will carry the positive lessons acquired from the Sekafa Under-15 Championship in their future assignments. The team jetted back in the country from Eritrea, where they came second. Kenya lost 4-0 in the final at the hands of Uganda in the inaugural edition of the junior regional competition. Goalkeeper Gary took home the Best Keepers Award. The tournament, which is FIFA-funded, aimed to help Eastern African teams prepare for the AFCON Under-17 qualifiers that start early next year. The team, which is in FKF's Center of Excellence on a homeschooling program in Thome, with daily training sessions at the Wadi Degla Club in Runda, now shifts focus to upcoming international competitions.
I think there's several things we observed in this tournament, right? One of the things is we probably need to improve our tactical variations a little bit more, because in a tournament people watch you, they read you, and then they try and find solutions to that. So leading up to our next international assignment, we're just looking to add different variations, different systems we can play. So if someone sees a strength in us and negates that, then we can always have a different solution.
From the ground. Despite the promise to create 1.3 million jobs,
moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories that touch our hearts.
I didn't know that I could go back to school.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Every day, NTV News team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took part in this operation,
police are not taking anything to chance it.
Moves you to the heart of the story to witness and record history.
Rendering the declared results null and void.
Telling the story of Kenya.
The growing importance of border in Mandera.
Matatus will be on strike.
And beyond.
The politics in the United States capital.
It is the 7th edition of the Global Education taking place in Dubai.
When it comes to business, we crunch the numbers and unpack the detail with the latest information for your investment decision.
It's time to say goodbye to this note and karibu to this note.
In order for the manufacturing sector to be elevated from the ground.
Despite the government's promise to create at least 1.3 million jobs,
moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories that touch our hearts.
I didn't know that I could go back to school.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Every day, NTV News team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took part in this operation,
police are not taking anything to chance it.
Moves you to the heart of the story to witness and record history.
Rendering the declared results null and void.
Telling the story of Kenya
The growing importance of border in Mandera.
Matatus will be on strike.
and beyond.
The politics in the United States capital.
It is the 7th edition of the Global Education taking place in Dubai.
When it comes to business, we crunch the numbers and unpack the detail with the latest information for your investment decision.
It's time to say goodbye to this note and karibu to this note.
In order for the manufacturing sector to be elevated from the ground.
Despite the government's promise to create at least 1.3 million jobs,
Moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories